Welcome to Crappens. Don't wait a week for a new video. Join our Patreon at the Crappens On Demand level for instant recap access. Link in description. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker. Joining me, as usual, is the wonderful Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Hi, Balloony Tunes. What you doing, honey pie?
Just settling in for a RHONY recap. Everyone, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens. You get access to our videos with Crappens On Demand. We have a weekly bonus episode, all sorts of fun stuff. So go check that out. And without any further ado, let's just dive into this because people have been talking about RHONY for the past week, not necessarily in a good way. A lot of people were upset about the prank, betrayed the trust of the audience quite a bit. You know, we were on Jeff Lewis earlier today, and we didn't really talk too much about the fact that Jeff went on to Watch What Happens Live and was like, yeah, I don't like pranks. And I think this was bad, and I think this was wrong. And I think it was a bad move of this show to build to. It's okay to have a prank, but the way that they framed it on this episode, I think that they're gonna have to do a lot of work to get that goodwill back from the audience that they've squandered.
Well, I mean,
from
it's
last
not
season.
just the way that they framed it on the show. It's that they based the whole season on this one thing. It's like coming up this season, this thing happens. And so people are like, oh my God, this show has some life in it. And it turned out they do not. It was just a joke. But, whatever. It's like,
whatever.
We move on. You know what I mean? It's too boring to keep talking about over and over again, We've got new things. But this is the show that never learns its lesson. As we know, I've said it 9 million times this year. So they're not going to learn their lesson from this, even in the moment. They are going to add on to this and make it more of a storyline by changing it and making it that Bryn never even knew it was a...
It was actually, I was surprised actually by the turn that this took. It's like, I get it now. In some ways, it's kind of brilliant what they did. They got us all mad. They got the audience so mad about this prank. And then we find out that there's way more, not way more that's interesting, but way more to the story. So basically, we come back to the dodgeball court. And, they're like, oh my God, all this stuff about this rumor that's going around. And, because Rebecca has stormed off, allegedly furious, and Aaron has gone after her. And now Aaron and Rebecca walk back. And Sai's like, I don't even know what to do with my facial expressions. Oh my God. And then Rebecca's like, guys, so Gavin does not know about this. I told him the reason why I'm feeling sick is because my diva cup keeps falling out and I'm doing weird things to my body, but that's it.
So Rebecca's like, so you guys have to just zip your fucking leaky mouths, okay? And Jenna's like, wait, so your husband, he doesn't know that she's like, it's early, it's just 5 weeks. So who told who? Aside from this, Aaron, which is a whole other situation, I'm very, very, very upset with Aaron. Very, very, very upset with Aaron. Nobody from that 70s show is ever going to be nice to Aaron again. I can promise you that much.
But I would never say anything to anyone that you're pregnant, because I know you're not supposed to say anything until 3 months. But that being said, I did tell my mother and about 5 other people off camera. But that's it. That's all I've spoken to.
So, Bryn, did you tell them? And Bryn's like, no, I didn't tell them you're pregnant. I just told them I heard other things. Beep, beep, boop, boop, bop, bong, boo, boo, boo. Mostly told them I need bottle. I'm sexy.
Yeah, I tell people that you do a Russian roulette with other dudes. That's
like,
what you told Gav to have fun.
Interesting. So rumors are going around then? And she's like, yeah, that you and Gav like to have fun. It's less offensive if I just say things twice. Gav, fun. Slut. See? It's great.
So Jenna tells us, Jenna's upset because she's like, Bryn likes to embellish, and I'm just bummed that she's gossiping about someone's marriage that could do potential damage to their marriage. And I went through that because I was outed on page 6. I have trauma. So then Rebecca is basically like, Bryn, you're strangely quiet. And Bryn's like, I'm just having my thoughts, Becky. So then Aaron's like, okay, Rebecca, you should just like tell them. Like, tell them. It's like time. It's like so hilarious. Just like tell them. So it comes out. Rebecca's
Baby,
like,
it comes
guys,
out.
we're fucking with you.
We just wanted to see who the leaky pigeons are, and now we know who the leaky pigeons are. It's you guys. It's Bryn. And so they start cracking up, and Aaron's like, okay, here's how it happened. Last Tuesday, Rebecca and I are having lunch, and a light bulb goes off in Rebecca's head. And she says, I think it's hard in a big group when there's a leaky pigeon. Who's the leaky pigeon?
Shouldn't it be leaky pitcher, by the way? It drives me nuts that the entire episode they keep saying leaky pigeon. Like a leaky pigeon is really actually, of course, it would be Rebecca Minkoff to create a concept of a leaky pigeon.
She just loves leaks. She even projects it onto animals in,
How about a
sayings.
pigeon that just has a pigeon with diarrhea just flying around like Rebecca?
Well,
Jeez.
it started with the pigeon thing from fucking Uber. It's just pigeon this, pigeon that. You're all pigeons. And so now they've turned it into the pigeon is leaking. So now we've got leaky pigeons. So Rebecca's like, guys, we just came up with a really funny, harmless rumor that she's pregnant. Maybe you just didn't know like who the dad is. And so Aaron's like, yeah. And then the following day, I go to lunch with Jessel and Bryn, and I find the perfect moment to drop the news. And it was when I dropped the news. It's like, whoa, good one, Aaron. So then Raquel is we see the conversation, right? We've already seen it, but Bryn's like, is she pregnant again? Who's the dad? And Aaron's like, it's not even a joke. They're not sure yet. She had one night, like a crazy night, guys. It was just one crazy night.
Yeah. Basically, it's like everything we saw last week. The only new thing that we see is that when Abe, the babe, and Aaron go out to a double date with Mal and Raquel, Aaron actually tells Raquel that there's a prank going on. So Raquel actually knew. I think that was oddly enough a pretty nice thing because like she's the new girl, so she's like, look, I'm in my mind I'm thinking she's telling Raquel because she's like, I'm gonna spare her, So then they're just talking about like the seeds were planted, the rumors are gonna spread far and wide. So now we're back to dodgeball, and Jessel's like, I don't know, guys. That was like kind of a fucked up lie. And Sad's like, yeah, that was like really fucked up, guys. So they were like, Erin has this look on her face. She's so proud. She's like taught people a lesson. And, the audience is just like, I can't believe we fell for this bullshit.
But also, and Uba says it the best when she says, if I were Aaron and Rebecca comes up to me and says, let's find leaky pigeon, I would be like, girl, I don't think I'm the one you should be going to because I'm like the leaky leak of all the leaky pigeon because Aaron is the worst. I mean, Aaron ties with Bryn as being the worst of like, oh my God, how are you feeling about her? Here's how she's feeling about you.
Well, also, like, Aaron has spent
Are
the
you
whole
pregnant?
season.
I won't tell anybody. She's pregnant. I mean, the whole thing was Aaron, sorry, 2 recaps in a day. I'm like, Erica. The whole thing was Aaron leaking it in the first place. How is everybody else in trouble?
Exactly. Well, the thing is that, like, Aaron's whole thing with Bryn is that Bryn always goes and gossips and puts her own spin on things, and it makes people look shitty. So the whole purpose of this prank is to out Bryn as someone who does this, but it's Aaron who does it. I mean, Bryn does it too, doesn't exonerate Bryn, but Aaron
both
does it, and she does it
liars.
a
They team
lot.
up. Yeah.
And this whole episode is actually exposing that Aaron does add sizzle or lies by omission and lets people infer things. So Aaron's like, just let the record stand. I would never say someone was pregnant if they asked me not to. Because guess what? I have a secret about almost every person here. It's like, well, you should have just stopped at the first sentence. Why are you saying that? Because then Uba's like, oh no, you don't have a secret about me. Do not lie. Do not lie. If you do, tell it to the group right now. You lying bitch. I know for 100% sure you do not have a secret about you basic bitch who drinks water from glasses.
She's like, okay, I don't have a secret on you then. She goes, okay, so don't say everyone. And we was like, what is she doing? What is she, the mafia? And Rebecca's like, well, I think this just teaches us all a lesson. If you want to keep a secret, don't tell these two. And she points to Jessel and Bryn. And so Bryn's like, oh yeah, you need new material. Like, you need better jokes. what are you so defensive at? She's still not even come at you like you deserve. You just went and told everybody that she's like a total whore. Like, what do you have no room to be defensive right now, ma'am.
Yeah, and then when later on we find out that Bryn knew it was a prank, so she was adding lots of sizzle to this prank, hoping to get other people being like, wow, Rebecca's a slut. So Bryn is basically like, why are you testing us? Okay, this isn't SAT prep. Like, unless you're in an Ivy League school, you don't need to test people, let alone friends. I'm like, I think.
Oh, honey.
See, don't say you need better jokes and then you make that clunky one right there. Okay.
But also to be like, oh, you don't need to test us. You failed the test. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you do need to test. You're like someone who hits another car in parallel parking. You know, like there shouldn't even be testing. You're the reason that there's testing. You know what I mean? So then Jessel's like, excuse me, do not include me in this. I told my mother and that's it. And then we see her telling her mother, you know. And then Raquel's like, you told your mom? She's like, well, I thought she was getting pregnant and knocked up by some random. And I was like, I have to tell somebody.
And then we see that shot again of her mom going, what? So now I love her mom. So now it's another day. So Bryn goes and meets Jessel at like a patio. They're wearing captain's hats. It's Fleet Week in New York City. So they've gone out to some bar to find sailors, I guess.
I want to make a sailor. It's Fleet Week.
So Jessel and Bryn sit down to have this lunch. And they are just talking about sailors coming in, and this, of course, gives Bryn a chance to make all the most obvious jokes, like,
I'm just like lost at sea with like no seamen in sight. Just Jessel.
Well, I need someone to push my chair in, but I think I just have to do it myself. She's like, do you want to switch chairs? Do you want to switch chairs? You could use my face. Just kidding. Just kidding. So, pretend I'm Hobbit. That's hilarious. So now they start talking about the third child thing, which I don't know. Do I not believe it or do I just not care? I don't know.
I think
don't get
it's
people
a combination.
going this crazy over having a third child. You know, aren't the first two painful enough? You know, look at them just over there knocking everything over everywhere they go.
Yeah. So, but she's talking about how Jessel says they've got a therapist from Mexico who's can really help us navigate. And, you know,
then she goes, he's really cool because he's from Mexico. She's like, oh, wow.
So then Jessel's like, well, as long as this day is shot, since no one was there to push in my chair, why don't you tell me about your love life? Who are you dating? And so Bryn talks about like being in your late 30s. The pool of eligible men is much smaller. The good guys are all gone. They're all taken. And when she was in her 20s, it was much easier. But she's been freezing her egg. And she's kind of like, man, why did I take plan B so many times? Like, why did I take plan B when I had so many great options? I never should have done that.
She's like, I just feel like Carrie Bradshaw making the biggest mistake of her life, not marrying Aiden. So sad that you're still comparing yourself to Carrie Bradshaw. Like, please. Also, I feel bad for this guy because she's talking about the billionaire Hugh Grant, you know, who's just like a goofy version, like Funhouse Mirror version of Hugh Grant. And I feel bad for him because she's just kind of using this dude. He's like, all right. Yeah. Someone's talking to me. I'm in.
I know.
Pretty girl talking to me, about 20 years my junior. I'm in. What do I need to do? You know?
Yeah, I mean, here's sort of a hot take that this scene when Bryn was talking about like freezing her eggs and how it's tough, I liked this. I felt like this was actually a very honest thing that she was sharing and like how it is tough and all that stuff. And I was like, this is the Bryn that I like. I like when she's just like being more real. And then but then it's like,
so and what we're gonna do is we're gonna have like a baby and we're gonna borrow a baby for a day and like see how it is to know baby.
I was like, okay, and now we're back to like, you know, like silliness. It's not. This is actually not her fault, but like the show is like just let her have her real moment. Why do we have to have a scene of like we're gonna see what it's like to be parents for a day? I was like, oh. I don't know if I'm articulating myself right, but I just had a glimmer of feeling like there was something, you know, compelling about Bryn. And I was like, it became very quick to realize, oh, this is like at Fleet Week itself. It will be fleeting because we're going to go into like a fake scene of like child rearing.
Well, at least it wasn't a doll baby because that would have been worse. At least it was a real kid. I didn't even catch this because when the scene actually came up, I was like, who the fuck is that kid?
Why is there a child in my
I never really got it. I was like, why is there a kid here? Are they not going to talk about how the kid ended up here? Did it just happen to crawl up to the fifth floor and they're too afraid to let it crawl down by itself? Like, what happened?
Yeah. No, I mean, Bryn's like, yeah, like my friend Laura is bringing over Luca, and Gideon and I are going to test drive a 2-year-old to see if we could be co-parents. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, I thought what Bryn was sharing was compelling because I felt like it was
sense. You said
it was
saying
honest.
like she was being truthful, and then she resorted to a stupid hack.
And then you realize, like,
trope.
oh, this is just set up for like another classic sort of reality show scene of like, can we be parents? I was like, oh, okay. Like, it just went from being interesting to a groan.
Yeah. So
I say that
then,
who often goes in that
she's
direction.
like, Jessel's like, so you just think that he's in love with the idea of you? And she's like, no, unfortunately, I think like he's actually into me, which is like so crazy. And she's like, why do you say that? What's wrong with you? By the way, there's no sailors here. Just don't answer because I really don't care. Does anybody, you're gay? Where are the sailors? And they're like, Chelsea, girl. Where do you think they come? You think sailors are going to come out of here and get a mediocre blowjob? They're in fucking Hell's Kitchen. It's fucking Chelsea.
Yeah. So now Jenna's in her bathroom and she has a black eye from Dodgeball. And she's like, I'm like kind of into my black eye. It's like pretty cool. I think it's like extra spice. I like it.
But also,
and then
Bryn's strong, but she's also kind of a bitch. So
And then Uba's on the phone with someone named Wendy, and she's like, "Hi, this is Uba. I've been stalking your Instagram with pictures and with picnics. I want to do a picnic I want to have a perfect picnic." And Uba's basically like, "Yeah, we're 35. We're not playing dodgeball for fun. We're gonna have a fancy picnic instead."
So then Mel and Raquel go to like a sex museum. Isn't it isn't this a sex museum, or is this there's a lot of like vagina, like this episode is like sex toys and like what's the other one? It's like sex toy, freezing eggs, and in vitro.
Reproductive elements. You know,
Yes.
yeah,
theme
this is like a
today.
real place. I feel like I walked by this place. I feel like it's on like Fifth Avenue or something like that. Something random, like near the Empire State Building. I just remember I was walking by there recently, and I was in desperate need of like lunch, and I think I got like I got like a
dildo.
grocery. I got a dildo. I went and I ate a dildo.
So
They
I
had the
haven't
most.
digested that. I'm just like gum from the 5th grade.
They have an amazing cafeteria there. They have kale salads in the shape of penises. I don't know how they do it.
I love
they
its
do it.
scale because it's just so like gross looking. You know, it's like, oh geez, that's really veiny. That's kale.
They're like,
veins.
it's actually supposed to represent body parts in the 70s. So there's a lot of kale. I'm a lunatic right now. I don't know what I'm talking about. So they're here. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. This is the sex shop. Ugh.
This is different,
throw
right? Because the
myself down
museum, I think, is later.
upstairs.
This is like a sex shop.
This
it's
isn't.
different.
Now I know why you were saying what you were saying, because I got confused with the sex shop with the sex museum that they had on this episode.
Right. I'm just saying, like, every scene is something to do with either a sex store, or, you know, sex paraphernalia, or eggs, or in vitro, or something like that, you know, or trying out a baby or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess maybe that's on purpose. Maybe it's a theme. I don't know. So then Raquel's like, oh, gosh, so what is this? A speakeasy sex shop? I mean, it's so New York. This is just so New York. And it's like in an office building, and they're like, wow, this is so wild. So basically, we find out that they're going to have a ball for their engagement party. And she means like the old, like, drag queen.
Like Paris is burning. I actually like this, what she's like, she tells the person behind the counter, like, yeah, we're going to do like a ball for the theme. And she's like, you know, like with Pose. And the employee is like, yeah, so like not like Cinderella, more like cat. I was like, I love that. She was like, you don't have to explain to this person what a ball is. She knows. She starts doing the whole dance.
She knew long before Pose, ma'am. And then Raquel just trying to explain like gay men things. She's like, ballroom, it's an underground dance culture started by young queer men of color. It's about being fierce, but most of all, it's about community and supportive environments, making us all feel loved. Those are values we treasured. I hope my mom comes.
Yeah. So the whole thing is that, you know, she has a fraught relationship with her mom these days, and she hopes that her mom is going to come to this engagement party that's also going to feature various ball gags and
Whips. That just cracked me up. She's like, God, my mom's very, she was progressive, but then she became really religious and conservative, and it just changed her. She got brainwashed. And I really hope she comes to this BDSM party I'm throwing, because it would really hurt my feelings if she didn't.
So they're trying all sorts of stuff. I know. I'm
It's
like,
just so funny to me. This scene is so wild. And she's just such a self-serious person too,
yeah.
but like ultimately silly at the end of the day.
Yeah, I really like Raquel, and we've said this a million times. I think we both really like her. We're just not sure that she's really like it for a Real Housewife. So then we go over to Erin and her mom, and they're at some like kids play experience thing called Genius Gems. And Jessel and her mom and Jessel's two little monster children come in and immediately start like knocking everything over and pushing people into garbage cans and like pulling all the fire alarms.
Genius Gems. I was like, wow, it's a diamond shop? Nope. It was just a place where you could either have intelligent children playing with blocks and putting them together, or terrible children just punching the blocks and knocking everything over.
Yes. Some are builders, some are knocker-overs.
And
you can guess which one I was.
So, yeah, you were probably writing about the builders. Like, these builders are terrible. Terrible.
I was probably
builders.
organizing people like
And
one
then
person
people
at a
came in and
time.
started
guys.
knocking them over. And here's what I'd like to say: parents, do you not take care of your children in the gem store? Please take care of your children. Just blogging.
I'm like, here we go, the final piece in my representation of the IMP pyramid in front of the Louvre. Oh my God, who knocked over my pyramid?
So fun. Okay, so so they're at that place, and then we see Brynn going to the Museum of Sex. So it's another sex shop scene. And she's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm coming home.
Yeah, it really goes exactly the way you'd expect it. And I think that the joke here is that we're going to cut back and forth between Jessel and Erin playing with their kids doing something wholesome, but the rest of the women are like grabbing dildos in like a glory hole reenactment.
Yeah, and so
it's funny.
So they're like, so Brynn, so it's Raquel, Brynn, and I think Sai comes, and Uba. So or is that a different scene?
No,
I don't know.
No,
yeah, it's the same scene. Okay, so then
it's the same compelling scene. Yes.
So they're like, so what do your orgasms feel like, Brynn? And she's like, like my whole body. Yeah, no, I've had people tell me like, you're super hot, but like you look fucking stupid when you come.
So then there's a lot of sort of back and forth stuff that's really not that interesting. But eventually we land back at Genius Gems. If I have to say Genius Gems one more time, I swear to God. So Erin is like, so what did you think about dodgeball? And Jess is like, oh my God. She's like, yeah, you were freaking out. Guess what, Mom? We played another prank. It was Rebecca's idea to see, like, she was like pregnant, and she's going to say like where she's pregnant and doesn't know who the father is because she has like 4 kids. And Jess's mom is like, a one night stand for a joke? What?
And Jessica's like, well, I'm not trying to spread a rumor like that. And Aaron's like, yeah, of course. And Jessica's like, well, that's a serious accusation and definitely not about Rebecca Minkoff. And then Brynn walks in and says, and then I asked around and people are saying XYZ. And I was like, seriously?
I had no idea she was gonna go and say she called around and found out that they're freaking, and I don't think she wanted to spread the rumor because she doesn't like Rebecca. I think she just likes to spread rumors, and Rebecca's an easy target for her. So then we go back to the sex museum. And Brynn is like,
Okay, everyone. So Jessel, Erin, and I go to lunch, and then Erin tells this whole story, and Jessel believed her, but I didn't. And then afterwards, Erin and I had a drink, and she told me that she was pregnant, but that the do part was a prank. And so Erin told me, and it was just the fact that they didn't know the father was the prank. And I'm like, okay, I'll be in on it. I was like, wow, Brynn is Brynn, you've been caught. You're caught, and you're trying to wiggle your way out of it. That's what I thought at this point.
That's what I was thinking too, and I still don't really know what to think. except that I know that Erin's also a goddamn liar. So it's not like I don't trust. It's not like I trust her either. But Bryn, yeah. So Bryn's saying she didn't. She knew that the pregnancy thing was a prank, so she's going to add some sauce to it and tell everybody on purpose that Rebecca's being a slut, and this was the setup. So then we cut back, and I was doing that mostly for myself to keep this all.
Yeah.
You didn't say anything wrong. I'm just like trying to get it.
No,
right.
I could see. Sometimes it's a lot.
It's just too stupid. It's too many details for such a stupid plot. Okay, so then Jessel's like, wait, did she know? And Erin's like, no, she wasn't in on it. And then she tells us in the typical shady Erin way. She's like, I actually told Bryn after we got a drink, which I'm not doing with her anymore, by the way. And she was like, did she really fuck other guys? And I was like, eh. And that was me being like, exactly like it was, which means I don't know, but no.
Why?
No.
How does that exonerate you or justify that? Like, you don't just tell people she is fucking other guys and got pregnant from another guy. Was she? Wait, she was sleeping with another guy? I don't know.
Yeah.
What? How do
Say
you say
no,
the
Erin.
the inflammatory part on camera and then off camera be like, well, maybe it was a lie, and then you're gonna go and start accusing Bryn of being like gossiping and lying and putting sizzle on it on camera, and then having us all turn against Bryn. I mean, look, Bryn does a lot of things for us to turn against her. Bryn does a lot of work herself, but you can't do this whole season of like Bryn goes and tells Jenna that I said this. She always puts her sizzle on things. That's what she does, and that's why I'm mad at Bryn. But you were actively putting a sizzle. You actually are setting up Bryn, and please don't make me advocate for Bryn here, but you are. I'm kind of on Bryn's side about this.
I mean, I kind of am, but I just don't believe the whole thing, because then why didn't Bryn when this all happened and Rebecca and Erin were like, haha, we got you guys, why wasn't Bryn like, yeah, we got you guys. That was funny. She got defensive against Rebecca and was like, you need to come up with more jokes.
Well,
like when they were
because-
telling her, why were you lying about stuff? Bryn didn't stand up for herself. She just got really defensive and started being mean. So
Because she
why
still
that?
was because she still was half pranked, because she thought one half of the prank, she knew one half of the prank was a prank, but she didn't know the other half of the prank was a prank. So she still got pranked. So she could
she
either
was mad
choose
that she
the
got
I'm a pranker or I'm the prankee, and she chose I'm going to be the prankee.
God.
I have a chance to be indignant right now and to be upset at someone, so I'm going to choose that path.
Okay.
So then we go back to the sex museum, and Raquel is like, so everyone, this is so weird because we were on a double date, and she told me she didn't know, and that she was like trying to seek out a leaky pigeon. And then, basically Bryn tells everyone like, yeah, like I thought this was a fun prank and everything, and I knew about it. So she tells everyone that she knows, and everyone's like, so this is kind of fucked up, because basically she did this prank and then she told you, but then she tells Raquel that you had no idea about it. So she's like, everyone was like lying to Raquel about Bryn's involvement in the prank.
To make it look like Bryn's just going around and making up horrible slut stories about.
Right. When
Rebecca.
Bryn thought she was just like making the prank more fun because she knew it was a prank. So and ultimately it was just like a prank on Jessel, because Jessel was the only one who had no idea that it was a prank, as usual.
Well, and Sai didn't know.
Oh yeah,
Right.
but yeah, Sai's involvement was for like 45 seconds, but Jessel actually had a dinner, and then she went to a jewelry store with her mom and told her mom, told probably her
Right.
therapist in Mexico, the whole thing.
So then Uba is saying, well, I was getting really uncomfortable, and I think Bryn sensed it, and so she saved the day by telling me it was a prank. And then Bryn's like, but I did think she was pregnant when we were playing dodgeball. And Raquel's like, so you thought she was pregnant, but you thought she was pregnant with her husband's baby? And she's like, yeah. So then we go back to Erin, and Erin's like, I mean, if someone told me they were pregnant early on and said, don't say anything, I would never say it. You know me.
You know what? Here's what we definitely know about Erin. She's a terrible pranker. Like this is the second season in a row where her pranks have fallen so fucking flat. Last year was about the phone, and then she's like, why? It's a joke. And this year I'm actually like angry at how bad she is of a prankster, because she goes on. Rebecca's like, everyone says I'm boring, so I'm going to do a prank. And Erin's like, I'll do it with you. And then she basically fucks up Rebecca's prank for her. Let Rebecca have her prank. You ruined Rebecca Minkoff's prank.
Yeah. So Dorothy is like, well, people have to be able to trust you. And Erin says, yeah, that was the moral of the story. So says the lady who just completely fucked somebody over during the prank. I mean, what the hell? So then Uba's like, okay, listen, I'm thinking, I could be wrong, but I think the reason she told you it was a prank was because she wants you to do it and then go around to everyone else and say, look, who's the leaky pigeon? Because if she didn't tell you it's a prank, then you would not have said it. And I was so glad that it was taking Uba a minute to piece it together because I was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of getting it now. Because I didn't really get it. I still thought Bryn was lying at this point. So then Uba is like, well, why didn't Erin come and tell me the story? Because why didn't she tell me? Because she knows I wouldn't tell anybody. So she found someone who does exactly what she wants, which is fly away with the message, which is so true. And Erin and Bryn do this with each other. They probably get together and are like, let's do this storyline and let's do this. And then we'll fight over this.
Yeah. And Sai is actually the one who has some sense. And she's like,
You know what? It's safe to say that Erin already failed her own test. She leaked this prank to Raquel. She leaked this prank to Bryn. And out of all the women in this group, Erin is the last person who needs to be testing people on who is a leaky pigeon. And what the fuck is a leaky pigeon in the first place? It's disgusting.
Get the pigeon a diaper. Put it down.
if we've got leaky pigeons in New York, like something tells me there could be a public health issue going on.
So Raquel's like, she wanted to believe that you're a leaky pigeon and that you're like this terrible person that would go out and tell us these things because she told me that you and Jessel bought it hook, line, and sinker. I feel like Erin manipulated the situation. She left out Bryn was going to be a part of it. So the minute Bryn started speaking, I was like, holy shit, Bryn's a pigeon. This is fucked up.
This is the most convoluted, uninteresting storyline. It's so hilarious. And yet I can't keep saying it's uninteresting because the way that I am actually shouting into the microphone,
it's getting more interesting for sure.
No, for sure. Like I have to say, I was with everyone else. I was really upset with the prank last week, but actually seeing what it's actually revealing is surprisingly. I'm in for. It's surprisingly interesting. I'm okay with this.
Here's something really fucked up. Okay, they put this on right after Beverly Hills, right? Which Beverly Hills is their highest rated show. And it's not that I'm actively rooting against New York, but this was the highest ratings of the season. They got 0.406 million viewers. So that's 400,000 people, which, isn't great. But for them, it's good. I mean, they've been around 300,000. So this stupid plot line in the network's mind, because all they do is look at these ratings, is like, see, it's good now. We fixed it with that stupid prank storyline.
Yeah, because I think that the show is now going into like big hate watch territory where people are like, I'm so mad about that prank. I just want to watch it again and get mad about something else. So now they're talking about this, but it is kind of fucked up what Erin did because Erin is framing, Bryn in this situation. So then ultimately they're all upset, and then Uba's like, okay, well, I have to go to a picnic. Goodbye, everyone. And then she like slides down a blowjob. There's like a mouth. It's like, here, now you can know what it's like to be semen during a blowjob. And you're just like, and she's like, woo! And then she's like screaming for a while. She's like, woo!
It just keeps going. And then you just hear her crash.
She like winds up on the 6 train. It's a big slide.
Then we go to Jesselyn Pavitt, and he's bringing bowls of snacks to the table. It's like, what is this, a freaking fiesta? This is supposed to be therapy. Why don't you just get a Corona? And he's like, we should have tacos. We're talking to someone in Mexico.
She's like, I'm not eating on this call. And he's like, we're just going to have some chips and salsa, which, by the way, it's not appropriate to be snacking while you're talking to a therapist. So
I'm a foodie now.
Jess is like, okay. Hi, Joe. Thank you for your patience with us. So they're talking to this therapist about this whole thing and talking about how Pavitt is always defers to, it's time to say certain hard truths, which is, we all loved Pavitt last season because Pavitt's Pavitt and he does his little food things. It's so amusing. I think he's like a little too aware of how much we all loved him, and he's trying to like lean into this character. And I think what's happening is he's just being a dick. Because you're in therapy right now, and like you have a professional on the phone, you're eating chips and salsa, and everything is always like a little joke, like the wink wink. It's like, okay, we get it, Pavitt. Just let us love you the way we loved you last season.
I think sometimes people are just like that, And then you're married to Jessel, who's constantly just going and going until she gets what she wants. It's like, do you want children? Nope. Do you want them now? Nope. Do you want them now? Nope. Can I have another kid? Nope. I'm going to get a therapist. Okay. therapist, you tell him, do you want a kid? Nope, I still don't. Why don't you want a kid? I told you I don't. And then the therapist is like, why don't you want a kid? Shouldn't you all want kids to have a kid? But then it turns out the Pavitt kind of does want a kid, because then he admits that he was 99% against kids, but that 1%'s there. And then the doctor's like, oh, great. So there's 1%. And he's like, yeah, so maybe we can have another kid. I was like, oh, God. So this is just your game. You just say no multiple times until someone talks you into it. That kid's going to feel very, very lucky when they watch this later.
Yeah. Also, Jessel, beware of a passive-aggressive Chip, because we saw it happen with Shannon Bedore, and the fact that they're doing this therapy, and she's like, we're just so busy with kids and with work, and
You're
and
right,
it's just
actually.
like, sometimes you sort of forget,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pavitt's having a salsa party in honor of you being in Mexico City. She literally said that. That sounds like something we would say. She said it. Fried
That is
Chicken
pretty
Committee
funny.
having a fiesta today. Congratulations. You just learned about Mezcal, courtesy of Erin.
Yeah. So then Pavitt's like, well, if I had to bet money, will we have a baby girl next year? I don't bet money, but I will bet a flauta. We'll see. So
By the way, also his reasoning for not having a third child is not because like
this is good, actually. Yeah,
he's
this
not
is
like,
bad to
oh
skip.
hey, I only want to have 2 children, it's like a lot of work, whatever. He's like, no, when we travel, right now we're 4 people. That's 1 hotel room. 3 kids. Now you're at 5. That's 2 hotel rooms. That's expensive. I was like, okay.
Miles work differently. Miles work differently. Literally said Miles work differently with 5. That's why I don't think he's even leaning into it. I think that's just who he is.
And it's like, it's one thing to say, look, we just don't have the resources to support 3 children, and we don't have the room, or we don't have the bandwidth, whatever. But he's like, no, my Miles, no, I don't think we can do it.
He's more worried about the miles. All right, so now we get the Bryn trying out a 2-year-old. So Luca comes over. Hugh can't. Oh, no. Luca's a toddler. And so what's the other guy's name? I forget. Gideon comes over.
Gideon.
Yeah, and so Bryn's like, oh, my God, it's me, hide from Gideon. And Brittany, you can't see us. You can't see us. We're hiding.
I will say, I mean, Bryn is really good with kids. I like
She acts
really.
just like one. She talks to them. She was already talking to them in the kid voice. Like, do you want to pretend we're hiding? Wink, wink.
So he comes over and he's like, "Oh, I thought we were doing a wine tasting today, but we're babysitting. That's so fun. So glad I canceled my return trip to London for this. Okay, well, okay. Let me pour some of this $1,000 Dom Perignon that Heather Dubrow gave me. I'm gonna pour it in my glass. And oh, you put your Tonka truck in it. Thank you. Or your Hot Wheels. I love that in my expensive champagne. So lovely. Glad I came over today. Thank you so much."
Well, I haven't talked to Gideon much about whether or not he wants kids, but he didn't when we were together. He just didn't want them. He said, if you want to, we will. But he's like, I'm good without kids because he likes his life, But he's never going to be like gung-ho on the kid thing. But he's really rich, so I'm going to have a kid with him.
So I was just like thinking, like maybe like I've got some eggs and like maybe we could like co-bear it, like something like that.
And he's like, "Oh, I would love that because I'm on television. I just have to. Let me just think about how I will tell my mother, and let me just imagine it. Okay, and yes, it will be awful. Great, got it. Yeah, can't wait to do this with you, Bryn."
God, it's fucking.
I don't think he's. He says that he'd be down to do it, but I don't think he is. I think he's on
It's just
camera.
such a desperate ploy. It's like, okay, I dumped you, not going to date you anymore, but you are still rich, so I'd love you to be the father of my children. You want to? It's so offensive. I mean, this guy's just such a goofball. He's like, ooh, maybe I have a chance still. And please trim your chest if you're going to do your open shirt like that, Gideon. You seem like a fairly nice person, but you're sad
it was
with
a
me
lot.
today. You're sad.
It was a lot. There's a lot of hair going on.
We just needed that one Gideon scene of sitting in that fancy car, and then he's the one that got away, and then he never calls back. It's like you had your chance. I'm a billionaire. Goodbye. But this whole like still showing up and like I don't know. I feel bad for Gideon. What's wrong with Gideon?
I don't know. It looks like he went through something since last season. I feel like he's like 10 years older. His hair is big and poofy.
A drying cycle. He looks like he was left in the dryer for too long.
I know. I was like, oh God, someone check in on Gideon. So now we go to a picnic in Central Park. This is Uba's picnic, the perfect picnic, because Wendy, the party planner, was like, I've got a great idea for you. We're going to make you the perfect picnic. So here it is. The perfect picnic has arrived. And there are tons and tons of little pigeons that don't appear to be leaking, which is great.
Yeah, pigeons are the theme of the season. So then they have little wooden pigeons, and then Uba's like, oh my God, I've decided to invite these girls to show them how to be classy. So, this is New York. So everybody arrives, and it's 5 minutes of, oh my God, you look amazing. What are you wearing? Oh my God, you look so pretty. Oh my God, you are so wearing clothes right now. Oh my God, everybody looks like they're wearing clothes right now. Are you wearing clothes? Oh my God, you're wearing so many clothes. What are you wearing?
So Bryn is like,
Yeah, I was like talking to my brother last night, and I was telling him that like I made up with you, Sai, and he's like, good, I love Sai.
so Sai and Bryn are just like fine now, which I don't know where that happened. Because I thought that they were like had like a fake peace or a fake truce, but apparently it's a truce now. So that's resolved, I guess. So Sai's like,
Yeah, so like I was thinking about that prank, and I was like, that's fucking shady. Like when we got home that day from dodgeball, this is like me talking about Rebecca. Like I was like, hey, that lie was awesome. I was so stressed out, and then she wrote back, hee.
which by the way is funny because Rebecca would totally write back, hee 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 hee. She goes, yeah. That's all she writes. It's like, hey Becky, so we need to know, like, for Q4, what are your intentions for the line? Okay, but we need you to answer, Becky. Okay, seriously, emoji.
So she's like, I said, Bryn knew about the prank, right? And she said, no, she didn't, only Raquel. And Bryn's like, so Aaron literally just sat there and told her that Bryn didn't know. And she's like, she set you up. Who says that? And so Uba's like, we should take all these pigeons and just leave one in the table. And Bryn's like, it's frustrating dealing with Erin when she doesn't remember the shit she does. She forgets she told me about Sai. She forgets saying Jenna's broke. Now I just don't really understand what she's doing or she's trying to do or like what. It's just nothing adds up. You're both compulsive liars, and you're getting caught on it and trying to point fingers at each other and start plots that are stupid. Both of you just get lives. Just lead lives that we want to watch, please.
So Jenna walks up, and Bryn is like,
Okay, fun news. I got set up. Not on a hot date, but with a hot guy. Aaron set me up.
and she's like, what do you mean? Is anyone going to ask me about my black eye, by the way? And Uba's like, there's a difference between set up and framed, and she got the framed.
So she tells her the story. When Aaron told me about the prank, we were at lunch. And after that lunch, Aaron and I went and had a drink. And I was like, dude, no way. And she's like, no, it's not true. And she said, Aaron told me that she's pregnant. Of course, it's Gavin's, but she wanted to do this prank on everyone. So I was like, oh my God, let me in on the prank. And that's why at Dodgeball, I was like, hey, hoes. And winking and making all the jokes and being like, should we take a pregnancy test?
Jenna's like, are you fucking kidding me? And Bryn's like,
Yeah, it's just like crazy. Like, why would you just be like, oh no, dude, she knew.
and Jenna's like, of course. I mean, Aaron, what the fuck? And Uba's like, so if they couldn't find a pigeon, then we would be looking for the pigeon, right? But she's the pigeon.
Pigeon, everywhere pigeon.
And then in walks Aaron, not realizing that everyone's talking about her. And then we got the mid-season trailer, which looked all right. Well, the mid-season trailer looked like nothing interesting happens until apparently the last night of Puerto Rico. So who knows when that's going to be? But that's when the big fight happens. That we hope is a fight and not another prank.
Yeah. So we'll see on episode, I guess, 16. Did they get a 16 episode season?
Oh God,
what
please make it a
thinking
12
over
episode
there?
season. Please, 12
God,
episodes.
What are you guys doing over there? All right, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. Probably one of our shortest recaps of all time. But it was still fun. I had a good time doing it. Hope you had fun listening to it. We will talk to you tomorrow for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.